Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tom Kelly. This is Clean Cut Audio, and in this week, it's a big one. I'm going to teach you how to deal with plosives in your recording that weren't handled at the source. Terrible. What a tragedy, but we've got to do it. So let's do it. For those of you that don't know, a plosive is a rush of air that comes out of your mouth and really upsets the diaphragm of your microphone. They happen a lot in P's and B's and CH's, cha, stuff like that. Sometimes TH's, think. It's a lot of air coming out of your mouth, and it's really just blasting the diaphragm of your microphone. Watch your ears. I'm going to test it out. Pop, pop, plosives. That is a plosive, and they're terrible for your podcast. How do you deal with that? You should do it at the source. You should do all things at the source. The Shure SM7B comes with 2 of these different size foam pop filters. They're built in. They do a pretty good job. I usually talk with my mouth right into the microphone. You can hear the P's and the B's, and it does a really good job of plosives. And that's one option. You should always have something like this on a microphone. The second option, you can get one of these guys, which is also a pop filter. It's a different kind. It's essentially 2 pieces of nylon around a frame. You can build one yourself out of pantyhose and a coat hanger. I typically don't really put this one on the SM7B because I like to get a little closer than this. And if you've watched my mic technique episode, you know I like being right up on this microphone. If I get that close to this one with this windscreen, I don't think it's very effective. Pop, pop, pop. It's not as good, I think, at these distances than this little guy here. But you should have one of these 2. Usually these are going to be a lot better for your podcast, but with the SM7B, I like to go with this guy. Another vote for at the source. Some people mention talking beyond the microphone like this. So if you have a rush of wind, pop, pop, plosive, the air is going beyond the microphone rather than into it. If you watched my mic technique video again, you might actually notice that there were more plosives with this microphone at a distance and slightly off axis than there were with me being right on the microphone. I thought that was really fascinating. If you told me that would happen, I wouldn't have believed you, but I heard it for myself. So experiment all the time. It's the best thing you can do. But that is another option. If you don't have a pop filter, if you don't have one of these foam balls, you can kind of talk to the side of the microphone. I don't think it sounds very good, but it's better than getting hit with those blasts of air in your audio. Sometimes, especially if we're dealing with this for a client, we don't have the luxury of dealing with it at the source because it's already done. Your client didn't listen to you. They said they got that pop filter, but they didn't because they didn't want to spend the $4 or whatever they cost. So now it's your job to fix it in post, and that's brutal. So we're going to take a look in Pro Tools. I'm going to show you 3 or 4 different ways we can do this, and it can be done on just about any budget, really. Even in Audacity, you can do this. So this is going to be a pretty easy one. It ranges in quality of output, though. So that's one thing to really keep in mind here. So we've got this audio sample here. This was me talking into my SM7B with the pop filter removed. Hopefully I didn't damage it, but this is what we got. Filming a video for the YouTube channel, and it's going to go pop, and I'm going to check the mic. It's going to be loud P's, a couple of B's. You never know what's going to fly into this microphone. Check, check. The first thing we can notice is the signal is quite a bit brighter, and I think it's because we don't have this obstruction between myself and the diaphragm. So let's keep that in mind. That's something interesting. But let's make another mono track here, and we're going to highlight the problem areas. We can usually see a plosive by something that looks different than the rest, rather than these kind of shorter staggered teeth. They're quite a bit bigger, so you can pretty easily identify them without listening. Probably one here. Couple of B. Yeah. Let's say there's one there. Into this microphone. Check, check. One here. So we've got, how many is that? 5 plosives in this one signal. So what do? My preferred method is to use IzoTope RX. Now, some people will kind of just take the whole track and run D-plosive on it. I don't really like doing that because sometimes it has a false positive and it affects something that isn't a plosive and it makes it sound kind of weird. So I'm actually going to do each of these individually. So in Pro Tools, we have our audio suite, noise reduction, and RXD plosive. I find that usually the default works. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to render each of these. And throw in some crossfades. Let's take a listen back. Going to go pop, and I'm going to check the mic. It's going to be loud P's, a couple of B's. You never know what's going to fly into this microphone. Check, check. All right, so it's not a good signal because it's pretty loud, but it's better than pop and all right, so that's just like blasting your eardrums. D-plosive is going to take all of that, the low frequency boom out of it. And it's going to go pop, and and again, it doesn't sound good because it is a blast on the diaphragm of the microphone, but at least we're saving our listeners' ears in the end. So that's my preferred method. I mean, fix it at the source always, but I will go through and as I'm listening, if I hear a plosive, just breakpoint, render, fade, that's it. Be loud P's, fixed, done, ready to go. Now, IzoTope RX is, I think it's like 400, something like that. Not everyone has it. Totally understandable. So there's 2 other options that I have here, and this is what I did before I had IzoTope. I went into my EQ settings and I picked a 1-band equalizer. I made a high-pass filter, and I rolled it back to about 200 hertz. We're going to listen to how this sounds here. It's going to take 200 hertz out of everything. For the YouTube channel, and it's going to go pop, and all right, so they had a little bit of the plosive in there. Let's take it up to 220 hertz. And it's going to go pop, and so there's still a bit, but it's better than, it's going to go pop, and so we're not getting blasted. And it's going to go pop, and the problem is we don't want this effect on the whole signal because this is not good. I'm a video for the YouTube channel. All right, we don't want that. We want it to only engage during the plosives. So what do? We can, they call it the bear claw in Pro Tools, Control Option Command, and we hit bypass, and we can enable automation for the bypass. So now in our automation, the track view selector, we can go down to 1-band master bypass. And it's going to go. So we want the bypass off for the whole track, and we're just going to unbypass this plugin on the plosives. I think I just did it the opposite way here. Yeah, so let's unbypass it for the whole track, and we're going to quickly engage it. We can see as the track's coming down here, the high pass filter is not on. During the plosive, it's going to engage, and it's going to shut off. So what we're left with, and we can see the bypass in this blue signal over here. And it's going to go pop, and I'm going to check. So we see that it really quickly shut off. And we might need it a little bit longer. It's going to go pop, and I'm going to... Again, this isn't going to sound good at the end. It just has to not blow up your subwoofer in your car stereo, because that's going to be really, really brutal. So that's one method. That's what I used to do. I think RX is better. I think it's a better option. The other thing, if we don't want to do this automation, I'm going to disable that, delete it. What we can do is make a second track. This is going to be our D-plosive track, and then we're going to move the track down here. If you're in Pro Tools, if you hold Control while you're moving a track, it'll make sure that you don't accidentally slide it out of time. It'll move down and stay in that section. We could accidentally, move it either way. hold control, it stays there. Oh, we don't want to copy it though. And my fade in times are not set up, so let's make this 10 milliseconds. See, the problem is we're not going to have the overlap here, so we might need to adjust the fade so that we're not missing any parts of the audio. And now just the plosive is on this track with the EQ, the high pass filter, on constantly, but we're only moving the plosives down there. So now let's listen to how this affects the sound. Channel, and it's going to go pop, and I'm going to check the mic. So that is a way of, if you don't want to do the automation thing, you can just have a separate like de-plosive track and, you know, move all of the plosives down to it. I think I can even be more efficient and just, yeah. So throw the crossfades. It's going to go pop, and I'm going to check the mic. It's going to be loud P's, a couple of B's. You never know what's going to fly into this microphone. Check, check. All right, so those are 3 options for quickly, efficiently, and in a pretty decent way control plosives in a podcast. Again, we want to fix this at the source. There's nothing easier, and there's nothing that sounds better than fixing your problem at the source. That should always be the number one goal. But I understand sometimes things happen. Sometimes I'll even get a plosive through this thing, just depending on whatever angle, whatever I'm saying. And I'll have to, again, I'll quickly isolate the plosive. I'm going to leave this window open, render, fade it through. Channel, and it's going to go pop, and you're good to go. So make sure you are catching the plosives, because again, bad listener experience to have those all the way through, but nothing is better than fixing it at the source. So that should really be the main focus. And that's it. It's a quick one, an easy one for this week. 3 different ways to control plosives in post. Please subscribe to the channel and make sure you ring the bell. I have these videos coming out every week. I'm making a real huge effort to never miss a week. Same thing with my podcast, Clean Cut Audio. New episodes come out every Thursday. Please subscribe to that show as well, so that we can all learn together how to make our podcast sound better. I'll be very happy to see you in both of those places. If you have any ideas for future videos or episodes of the podcast, please leave a comment on this video. Let me know what you'd like me to cover. A few of my videos coming up are specific viewer requests, so I'm going to be making these videos specifically for you guys, because if you have the issue, it's guaranteed someone else has the same issue, probably a ton of people. So don't be afraid to ask these questions. Nothing is too small. Nothing is too, I don't want to use the word stupid, but no stupid questions. So let's just do anything we can to make our audio sound better. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye.